In triangle RST above, point W not shown lies on RT. What is the value of cosine RSW minus sine WST? So this question, as with all other SAT questions, has a very specific concept it wants to check your understanding on. And that concept is known as the angle complements theorem. So before we can even talk about the angle complements theorem, let's take a moment to review what complementary angles are. Complementary angles are simply two angles that when added together equal 90 degrees. So if I, for instance, have one angle as 30 degrees, the complement of it would be 60 because 90 minus 30. So what the angle complements theorem states is something very simple. It says if I take the sine of one angle, let's again say just use 30 as an example, the answer to that sine 30 should equal the cosine of the complement of 30, so cosine of 60. And if you ran this on your calculator, you would find that this is true. If you ran sine 30 on your calculator, this would be 0.5. If you ran cosine 60 on your calculator, again, this would also give you 0.5. And this is true of any two angles that are adding up to 90. So again, if I, just for your sake, another example, if I had sine of 10 degrees, it should equal the cosine of 80 degrees. Oh, and by the way, I don't have to always start with sine. I could start with cosine. For instance, cosine of 1 degree should be the same answer as the sine of 89 degrees. So we can come up with a little bit of a statement here to help us just see this better. If I have the cosine of some angle, let's call it angle X, it must equal the sine of its complement. And to find the complement of an angle, you simply subtract that angle from 90. So this is really what the angle complements theorem says. The cosine of one is equal to the sine of its complement. All right, so then how does that relate to this question? Well, we are once again told that we have a right triangle RST. It has a point W that's not shown, but we are told that W lies on RT. So let's go ahead and draw that point W that's not shown. I'm just going to place it here randomly. I'll name it point W. But now when you look at the question itself, it says the cosine of angle RSW. So let me draw RS, a line from R to S to W. So that's one of the angles up here. And then the other piece is asking for angle WST. So again, I'm going to use a different color so it stands out to you right there. So what you're noticing, I hope, in effect, is that we now have two angles that add up to 90, right? Because this angle in its totality right here is 90 degrees. So we have two angles that together add up to 90. That means they are indeed complementary angles, right? Do you see where we're going with this? So this is where the angle complements theorem comes in. We are being asked for the cosine of angle RSW, subtract the sine of its complement. And if you remember the definition of this, we know that these numbers should be the same. So it's like if this were 0.5, the other one has to be 0.5. So we're really subtracting a number from itself. Therefore, the answer to this question would be 0. I hope that makes a lot of sense. Boom shakalaka.